If you wish to support the channel on Patreon, please follow the links below, and be sure to click the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. A little over 20 years ago, Bullfrog released Theme Hospital. It followed the same principles as their previous game, Theme Park, only the setting was, well, somewhat more mundane. It asked you the question, are you a bad enough director to build an efficient, well-run hospital that will serve the people of the community and stop them falling dead from illnesses like corrugated ankles, third-degree sideburns, and bloaty head? The game may not have sounded like the most exciting thing on paper, but its great sense of humour and brilliant play made for a critically acclaimed whopping great hit. One of Bullfrog's most popular titles, a game that sold incredibly well and was around for years and years as a budget title. And now, here in 2018, we're going back to the clean walls, panicked wards, kooky illnesses and hand sanitisers. 2 Point Hospital is on its way courtesy of 2 Point Studios, another small studio that's run by former denizens of the Bullfrog and Lionhead empires, with a game that aims to capture that Bullfrog magic once more. The game isn't actually going to be out until later this year, but I was invited to SEGA HQ not just to play an alpha build of the game's first hour, but to have a bit of a chinwag with two of the company's founders, Ben Hymers and Gary Carr. Ben's got experience working on the likes of Alien Isolation and what was to be Fable Legends before ending up a part of this show, and Gary, well, he once left Bullfrog because he thought that Theme Park was a terrible idea, and then returned a few years later only to be placed on Theme Hospital with Mark Webley, who's also part of the 2 Point setup. And all this time later, he's still in business simulation.
Mark and I spoke about this for years. Whenever we'd go out for a beer or just want to be a bit kind of reminisce about the good old days, that was just a highlight for us. One of the big highlights was Theme Hospital. So, it was really Ben who encouraged me to sort of get back into this idea and stop talking about it and go and do it. So I think I spoke to you and said, look, I really want to leave, but I need someone like you to come with me. Yeah. Which is really scary because I always said jokingly, my career's behind me, right? In the sense of, I've done my risks, I've been around a long time, but this is your opportunity. You're at Microsoft, you're in a massive opportunity here, you were 30 at the time, I think. Yeah. And I just thought, I didn't want to drag you out of that. But
I wanted to be dragged.
I know, but I was just scared that, I was encouraging you to leave a good career.
Pretty good opportunity though, right?
So, here it is. Now first off, please do forgive my haphazard aesthetics when it comes to room placement. A lot of the other people there were busy creating some really professional looking health centres, whereas mine ended up a confusing mess that looked like it was designed by Franz Kafka. No matter. If you're already a lover of Theme Hospital, then 2 Point will feel quite familiar in a welcoming way. As with the original, the game gradually eases you in, stresses the importance of building an area that allows you to diagnose and cure efficiently while making patients comfortable and keeping the books in check. Which is of course the thing that takes precedence in this game's world, where universal healthcare is dead and one cannot be expected to cure lightheadedness or lycanthropy for free. So get the patients in and out as quick as possible, try not to kill too many of them, and get their money. That's one approach anyway. The less cold-hearted amongst you might look to create a more pleasing space, with plenty of places to sit, lots of beverages and snacks to consume, and amenities for both patients and staff alike. Healing the sick doesn't happen overnight after all, so you can build a prestigious space that keeps patients comfy for however long they're there. Or you can build an oppressive assembly line in which the only functional difference between it and a slaughterhouse is the lack of rotating blades. It's your call. The kinder way will certainly increase your hospital's reputation, helping you gain stars and getting you to bigger and better spaces, but you can get there through the accumulation of not but cold hard cash too.
Sim games are quite strategic. There's a lot of depth in 2 Point, right? 2 Point Hospital's got plenty of depth there, but if it was dry, it might scare people off.
True.
Humour is hopefully a way of encouraging people to play a little longer in the space, and then suddenly before they know it, they're actually clicking on some of these lists and boxes and sliders and before you know it, you've kind of kidded someone into a genre they may not have actually naturally been into. So
exactly,
it's a way of hoodwinking people to play more core games, really.
It does help humanise it.
Yeah, it does. It does. And also, it lets you push boundaries a little bit because, hospitals are about life and death. And we didn't want to do that and make it too heavy. We wanted to have a situation where death's almost a bit of a celebration. Our ghosts are kind of fun. They're playful. And you don't get to the point where you just think, I've killed somebody.
Yeah.
That's
a bit of a downer.
It's like, oh well.
I want you to care about them. We want you to care about
Of course.
them. But
And that's
death
what
should
given
not
all this
be like
personality.
this thing where you go, that's it now, I'm not playing this anymore. That's
Yeah.
horrible.
It never gets any easier.
That's it.
So far, so Theme Hospital then. But there are more than a few notable differences. It's a lot easier to go back and improve rooms than it was in the original for a start. The interface is a fair bit more friendly. Thanks to the addition of various maps for things like hunger, temperature and happiness, it's easy to see where your hospital is succeeding and or failing with the click of a button. Another big addition is that the people are a lot more active. Every patient and staff member has their own individual personality traits and moods to be catered for, and they'll vary greatly depending on what you're doing. You might recall something similar to this in the movies, but 2 Point Hospital is a lot less canned and simplistic. It's also definitely worth pointing out the game's look, because I think they're onto a real winner here. The original did have its own enduring look. By purposefully shying away from the 3D trends of the time, it created something timeless, like a picture in an encyclopedia showing the insides of a castle. 2 Point Hospital evolves this. It's 3D and you can zoom in and out, rotate the camera and all sorts, but it's not technically bedazzling or anything. Instead it tries for a similar bespoke look, an art style that's rather reminiscent of Wallace and Gromit. Combined with the smooth lines and the clean look of a hospital, at least a well-constructed and well-maintained one, it's a style that really does work and feels like it's not something that's going to be outdated. This combined with the animations and the funny descriptions of all the silly illnesses and the personable staff members, well, they all kept me smiling throughout. Now of course all of this is alpha. There's still a lot to be done before the game hits the digital shelves later this year, so it's hard to say right now whether 2 Point Hospital will successfully carry on the legacy of the original while carving its own ground. But it's looking pretty good. It's important to note also that for the people of 2 Point, this is about more than just recreating past glories. It's an attempt to finish what was started long ago. The plan at Bullfrog was always to create more theme games, theme resort, theme prison, and so on. However, the plans did fall by the wayside. 2 Point wished to specialise in business simulation and ultimately to create those games. And there's always something about a good business sim, isn't there?
Don't think of the most exciting things that you would want to see. They're the last thing you should do. It should be the most mundane, ordinary, because what you like to do is just twist those subjects.
Hospitals aren't really very interesting, are they?
We saw a list from SEGA on. We've done some market research, and these are really good subjects for potential things to be in 2 Point counter. And number 3 was hospitals.
Yeah, that's right.
Would a hospital have even been in this list 27 years ago? No, it wouldn't. Nobody would have. So it's not those things. Those are really exciting things. They're space games, and we should be making sim games out of really dull subject matters, or really things that aren't exciting or interesting.
2 Point department
store, or 2 Point parking car park, or 2 Point anything that is not necessarily interesting gives us something to twist.
They achieve one of the best things you can do with a game. Take something completely and utterly mundane and turn it into gold dust. 2 Point Hospital may well continue that tradition, and frankly, I can't wait to play the finished product when it comes out later in 2018. Bye for now.
Maintenance announcement. It's better for all of us if toilets are serviced regularly.
Our reporter on the field, Sally Fig Blanket, has just returned with her camera crew from another field trip. As to what she was reporting on, I cannot say. Nobody tells me anything.